At your job, do you ever have to deal with a nose roller? How about a snub pulley? Well, if you're installing a new conveyor belt system, dealing with the different components can sound like you're speaking a foreign language. Luckily, you've got a team ready to help. Grainger's technical product specialists are fluent in maintenance, repair, and operations. So whenever you want to talk shop, just reach out. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And joining us now is Judge Andrew Napolitano. Lots of stuff on the political front.
The judge hates Trump.
Oh, stop, John.
How are you? I'm going to ask you straight out. How are you going to vote?
I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote, but
You're whispering in my ear.
The man interviewed me twice for the Supreme Court. So how do you think I'm going to vote?
Well, okay. Well, that sort of says it all there. We're talking about, obviously, the lawfare also against Trump. Judge Napolitano, I got to get to first the Nathan Wade stuff. This is the guy. He was the prosecutor in the Fani Willis case. This is, of course, the election case, all that. It comes out. I'm sure you may have seen the big headlines. It just came out a couple hours ago that the guy who had no background, I mean, never should have been appointed, clearly because he was the lover of Fani Willis. It turns out, he admitted he went to the White House twice. He just can't recall if he met with the White House counsel, what he was doing. But he also had to say under testimony that they'd been planning this for a while, this sort of, go out and go against Trump. The fact that they were at the White House, I mean, for 2 times, which we knew, but he testified now under oath. That looks so bad. Don't you think, Judge Napolitano? I mean, clearly the fix was in.
It looks terrible. I mean, who goes to the White House and doesn't remember who they saw and what they talked about? The inference is that he was being given guidance by the White House political people about the manner of prosecuting the former president. At the time, Joe Biden, everybody believed Joe Biden would be his opponent this November. And he is he's been unable to rebut that inference. Now, that's the awful news. The other side of this is never going to come before a jury. If Trump gets elected, forget about this case. I mean, he can't legally stop it, but I don't think they'll be prosecuting him 4.5 years from now when he's out of office. If Trump loses, they'll get very aggressive. And the fact that Nathan Wade did visit the White House, I don't think a judge would allow a jury to hear that.
What do you think is going to happen with
but it's not a defense.
What do you think is going to happen with the sentencing? There's still that sentencing hanging out here in New York, which is like,
Well, everything depends on November 5th. If he loses, I think the court will sentence him to 6 months and suspend 5 of them and force him to spend a month at Rikers Island.
Oh, my God.
As horrific as that is. If he wins the election, I think the sentencing will be something that is not incarceration.
Wait, I want to go back to, because our jaws all just dropped in the studio. John and I and Judge and Craig were like, what? You just said you believe, and I know, by the way, Judge, you're not alone. There are others who have said this. This is amazing, though, that if he loses, you think he might get sentenced to, a month?
Yes.
That he would have to in Rikers, the former president of the United States?
I'd like to hear what Judge Weinberg thinks, but this is the view of many of us. I'm not saying this is a just thing to do. I don't think the trial was just, and I don't think the conviction was just.
Time out. Judge Weinberg.
Victim.
Judge Weinberg, you have the floor.
Well, I know Judge Merchan, and he's supposed to be a smart guy. So if I were Judge Merchan, Judge Napolitano, what I would do is, before I did any sentencing, I'd wait to see what the Court of Appeals said on these issues. I think that they should be throwing this out. This is a case that never should have been prosecuted. They used evidence that's tainted evidence because it had to do with his official duties when he's president.
Agreed.
That's enough. That's enough to throw it out.
With you. I agree with everything you're saying. I do not know him. You do. I do not know how wedded he is to the Democratic machine in Manhattan. You do. I do not know if he needs to stay wedded to that machine in order to get returned to the bench when his term is over. So you have a much better finger on the pulse of these things than I do. But just looking at this as a person very experienced in sentencing, who spent not as much time as you did, but a lot of time on the bench, I think there's going to be tremendous pressure on him to impose some incarceration time if he loses the election, as unjust as that would be. Now, if the appellate division interferes as they should, then obviously he's going to do something different.
Wow, that is an astounding statement. And you're right. I mean, a lot of people seem to think this, but this is amazing.
Smart money is you wait until the appellate courts look at it and they throw it out because it's tainted evidence. That's the smart money.
That's what the smart money would do. And I think, you know him, I think he's a smart guy. I do not share in the criticism of his demeanor on the bench. I think he's smart and patient. I would have thrown the case out as you would have, but I think he's smart and patient. He doesn't want to ruin his career over this. He wants to make his career over this.
I agree with that.
That would be grandstanding. I mean, it would be ridiculous to have a former president serve time in Rikers. I mean, that would be
absolutely
disgraceful.
Absolutely disgraceful.
It would be a disgrace to the country, not just to the New York system.
This is not a banana
disgraceful.
republic.
I don't think Kamala Harris is capable of running this country. I think it would be disgraceful if she gets elected.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's another argument. That's a very solid, sound argument, but that's irrelevant to whether or not Trump is going to go to jail.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
The public has to agree with you, John, and I we'll see. There's a very good chance they will.
Yep, Judge Napolitano, thank you very much. And we have a
pleasure, guys. I did not mean to give you heartburn, John. You know I love you.
It's okay. I love you too. You know that.
All the best.
Americans are durable. We take pride in hard work and high quality. American Giant makes durable quality clothing right here in the USA because what we wear reflects who we are. When you buy American Giant, you're not just wearing the best clothes money can buy. You're helping keep jobs and pride in your own backyard. Premium clothing built to last decades, like it should. Get 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with code RightHere24.